we can find a couple of key themes. And for the speakers, please forgive me if I reduce your 45 minutes to one slide. But this is something that Wilhelm shared with us this morning that I found really interesting, particularly the little box in the top left-hand corner, which is about maturity. And what he's saying is that, maturity increases, and here we have a set of steps based on Harold Kersner's approach. And we all want to be more mature in our risk management capability, which we want to do better than we have done previously. And that's why we're here, and that's why we're looking for tips and hints and new ideas that we can take back to our organizations. And so we want to progress up the ladder, but the thing that you'll see from this top left-hand box is that there's some other arrows, some other lines here. And so you'll see that maturity sort of goes up and up and up, but at this point, it's possible that we might lose maturity. And I think it's an important insight that we mustn't forget, that maturity, the model I use, it's like walking up the escalator that goes down. So you have to be constantly making progress up the escalator, and if you stand still, it just carries you down again, because you can lose maturity. We need to maintain it. And one of the things we need to think about in terms of our risk management competence and capability is how do we maintain that level of maturity. I think a number of the talks that we've had today have given us some insights into that. Now, Brian Barrow followed on with the idea about making risk awareness part of our corporate culture. And you might remember this slide, which says that we're looking to develop the values, beliefs, behaviors, and then support those with artifacts, with physical things that will encourage risk awareness. And I thought what was interesting here was that it's really about culture. What we're really interested in, most of these things are soft things. Things to do with somebody leading change, or with having facilitation, or with having coaching and mentoring for personal effectiveness. And we begin to realize that it's not about tools and techniques and processes. We have to have those things. They're the kind of baseline that get you in the door and start you on the risk management journey. But it's all of the soft things to do with the people which are much more important in terms of both developing maturity and then also maintaining maturity. Do we understand how to develop those values? What are risk management values? And what are the risk values of your organization? And how do you develop them and maintain them and then keep them moving forwards? What are your beliefs? What do people in your organization believe about risk? Is it inevitable? Is it a pain? Is it something you wish you didn't have? Or is it something that you see is part of the environment that you need to embrace and that you need to cope with and actually exploit it to create advantage? So how do we believe and how do we develop different beliefs if we don't have the beliefs that we want? These things are really important. And I think we heard this from a number of the other speakers. Now, when we went into the project and program, the enterprise risk management track next door, we had Konrad Richter, who was speaking to us from McKinsey's and looking at a range of different things that were contributing to good risk management across a range of different industries. And again, the culture message, I think, came over quite strongly. And here, if we look at the things on the left-hand side, achieving compliance, ensuring value protection, driving profitability and growth, and providing stability and continuity, yes, but how? And it's not about tools and techniques, and it's not about dashboards and about different reporting formats, but it is about having the right people doing the right jobs with the right competencies. And so you'll see that up here we have risk culture and performance transformation. That down here we have risk appetite and strategy. And over here we have risk-related decisions and processes. These are people things. These are soft things that are essential contributors if we want to get these really hard, measurable things down the side here of compliance and performance and value and so on. So it's really important that we build that soft part into our understanding of risk management and the way that we do it. So then after Conrad, we had Igor Mikhailov, who was the European Risk Manager of the Year last year, and he's actually had to leave us this afternoon. But again, talking about what they're doing at MTS, we'll find that we have these sorts of things that risk management, in order to integrate, we have to make sure that risk management is part of strategic planning, business planning and budgeting, investment planning and commercial planning, but risk management should be embedded in all the organization's practices and processes in a way that's relevant, effective and efficient. The risk management process should become part of organisational processes, not separate from. And so it's about building it into the way we think, the way we act, the way we believe. My model for culture is ABC. Attitudes, the things we believe, lead to behaviour. And if we believe it, we'll live it out. Repeated behaviour leads to culture. ABC, attitudes, behaviour and culture. So if we want to develop a risk-aware culture, we have to behave in the right way towards risk. And where does that repeated behaviour come from? It comes from our beliefs or from our attitudes. And so we're again back to the soft things. And I think this is a repeated theme that we're seeing, throughout the summit so far. And then the last of our speakers in the other room was Thomas Schilt from SAS. And here, from SAP, I'm sorry. Why did I do that? You're not from the SAS with those great sort of... and again, here we've got his recommendation for a scenario risk management, a strategic risk management, which involves thinking about the future without trying to predict it. Now, a different thinking style that says it's not just about checklists and brainstorms and all that standard stuff, overcoming existing thought patterns. So again, we're back to the soft issues, and I think it's really important for us to see that. In the presentation that I gave of Ruth's thinking on risk appetite again is clearly that sort of soft side of understanding the way that we think and feel about risk, where that comes from and how we can moderate it. And then I just very quickly had to pick something from yours. But here we've got, this is what I think is important, that we've got to do risk management. And we know how to do risk management projects. But this is the tough part. It's about making those decisions at the portfolio level that are going to drive the right behaviour. So I think the theme that we've seen, at least from the half that I've been part of during the summit, is very much to do with risk culture, with risk thinking, with risk attitudes, with the way that we feel about risk and the kind of internal monologue, the internal conversation that we have about risk, our values and beliefs. And that's the thing that's going to make a difference as we move forward, because tools and techniques and processes are easy. If you don't have them, change them. If if they're not working, then just improve them. That's easy. But actually changing people's values, beliefs and thinking is much, much harder.